Welcome to Empowered by Iron, hosted by Dr. Kristen Lander from Fiercely Fueled Nutrition Coaching and Mary Morton from M&M Coaching, remote coaching for the novice athlete. Together, we are Empowered by Iron.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Empowered by Iron. We have a cool story from Mary today, and the theme of this episode is to be assertive and know your strengths. So Mary was volunteering at a powerlifting meet over this past weekend and had a very empowering experience. So she's going to tell us about this.
Hey guys, first, happy 6 months anniversary for Empowered by Iron.
Woohoo!
It's exciting for us, and we hope exciting for you. So this last weekend, I went and volunteered at kind of one of the biggest meets in South Carolina / North Carolina called Battle on the Border, that's put on by North and South Carolina, and they battle it out. Basically, the state with the best lifters gets like this trophy or whatever. But I had to drive 2.5 hours to get up there, so I was really tired. And I was really nervous because I didn't really know anyone except, the guy running the meet, but he's obviously very busy. That's how I got wrapped in. So
Right, because we're friends with the guy who...
Right, step back. So we go to the gym with this wonderful human called John Muzan. He's a record holder, state record holder, international champion.
Right.
Basically, he's
a world champion bench presser.
Yeah, he's legit. He doesn't do the full power anymore, but he's legit bench presser. And he asked me a couple months ago if I would help him with a meet, and I was like, yeah, sure, that's not a problem. So I got up there. I only knew him. He was really busy, and I was really nervous because I didn't want to mess up the job I was going to do. Like, I was feeling so insecure and little about this. Like, it's so stupid. All I had to do was, like, put on weights and adjust rack heights, like, something very basic, but I was, like, freaking out.
But there's this is a big meet, and this is a big region of the country for powerlifting. And so Jen Thompson was there, and a couple other big names.
Lauren Rutan was some of the guests we've had on. Mm-hmm. Stacy Burr, who's really big down here in South Carolina. They were all there.
All the records. Yeah. Oh boy, I looked her up.
She didn't lift, but
okay.
She was there, so that was intimidating. Like,
sure.
When you know someone on Instagram, but you don't know them in real life, you're like, I know all about you, but I don't know anything about you. Right. But anyway, and the meet is really fast paced. So we started I got what I was supposed to do. I was doing rack heights. We started half an hour late, and so I did the rack heights for all 3 flights. It was great. I was fast. I was efficient. And the man who was leading our volunteer group for that specific platform, his name is Rick Wilcox, and he was like super intense. He was like, if he was a boss, I would be so happy to work for him. He was so encouraging. Even when we got bad no's, he was really encouraging.
That's cool.
He was great.
So he was intense, but he wasn't, scary.
He wasn't scary. He was just like, do your job.
Uh-huh.
I have faith in you, which was great. And so we started feeding off each other. And then came the bench press. So we had a flight of women, and then we had a flight of men. And all that was fine and dandy until the men started complaining that our current gentleman who was handing off the bench, he was doing it a little too enthusiastically. He was really happy to be there. He was doing a great job. He was just kind of dropping the weight. And when you're doing a max effort lift, you don't want to be surprised with 300 pounds on your arms.
Boop, just drop it on their hands.
You can't just drop it and then have them stabilize and be ready for it.
Right. You need to help them stabilize.
That's your job as the handoffer.
Right.
Handoffer?
Yeah, hander-offer.
Hander-offer. And so they got a few people complaining, so he switched them out with someone else. And I jokingly said to Rick, I said, hey, you should let me do it. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. Those weights are really heavy. And I was like, okay, yeah, I know. I lift with John. John trains me. He's like, oh, okay. And then the other guy who he just switched with did the same thing. He kind of surprised the lifter with the bench, with the bar. And I was like, no, seriously, let me give it a shot. He was like, fine, you choose switch. Right. And I stood up, and I was super nervous. I started shaking. I was like, okay, Mary, don't fuck this up. Because, right, I just convinced him that I should do this.
You don't want to, drop the bar on them.
I'm sorry, that was really heavy. So I stepped up to the one guy, and he was lifting over 300 pounds. And I stepped up, and I gently handed it off. And And I mean, it went smooth sailing after that. Every lifter that came up, I handed them off the bar gently. And Rick was so impressed. He was like, I couldn't believe you did that. That was amazing. And I mean, I felt on cloud nine. I honestly had never had so much fun at a meet.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even lifting because, like, I had a purpose. I did a really good job.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the theme. It's like, I knew my skill set.
Yeah, because so John's like world championship bench press was like 413 pounds or something.
Something
like
absurd.
187.5 kilos, I think we
something
saw.
like that.
So he lifts a lot of weight, and he taught you to bench, and he taught you
How
to hand off so that you could train with him.
Right.
So you knew that you could do this. You were like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm a girl, but hello, like, what, do my boobs get in the way? Like, what's the problem?
I don't understand. Do I not look strong? I mean, I feel pretty bulky right now. I'm on a bulk cut.
You're on a bulk cut.
I'm getting stronger, but I'm losing the fluff.
You're actually on a cut, but we'll talk about that later.
Whatever.
Okay. Anyhow, so you knew you could do this.
Of course.
And you were like, hey, dude, like, I've
got this.
It sounded like I was joking, but I'm serious. I got
Yes.
this.
And I had to, if I hadn't taken that extra step and been like, no, seriously, like, let me do this. I can do it. Trust me. I wouldn't have, I mean, the guys lifting 300 pounds may not have hit their lift because they would have been surprised by the bar.
Because someone was dropping the weight on them.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
not saying that I'm like the godsend of what happened, but
Sure.
like you need a good team to have an effective lift.
You were the best person on that team to be doing that job.
And the other guys filled in the gaps, and it was a great team. But I think this is a great lesson, and the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because like there are moments in life where you know your skill set, but for some reason you may not have the confidence. Like assert yourself, like take your strengths that you know and give it a shot. I mean, the worst that would have happened is I wouldn't have dropped the weight on them because they were ready. I would have just surprised them like everyone else, and he would have been like, okay, get back to
Right.
get
That's
back
true.
to
Like
the-
everyone else was already doing
poorly. I mean,
poorly. Yeah,
what's
you
the
might
worst
as well.
I could have done?
That's
like as
true.
long as it's not jeopardizing anyone's life. Like
Right.
seriously, if you think you can do it, even if you have a very strong inkling you can do it,
Yeah.
I feel like just fucking go for it, right?
Yeah. And you're really good in situations like that. Like we've run like really mini little powerlifting meets and little lifting competitions together, and you're always really good at like organizing and just doing the things that you know that you're good at doing. Like you know your strengths and you're really good at doing that, but you've never been in that big of a scale.
No,
and
that
done
and that was kind of terrifying because things
Yeah.
were moving fast and like they needed everyone to work together. Like after I handed off, we need to be ready to put weights on and get the next lifter up. Like
Yeah.
it was quick pace. Whereas when we do it, it's kind of like okay,
Right.
whatever, 5s, 2.5s. I don't know what's going on the bar.
Right.
I mean, not really. Like
You put a 5 on one side and a 2.5 on the
we
other.
do pay attention, kind of.
but no, that's awesome because I honestly don't think in that environment, I don't think that I would have, like if someone was like, oh yeah, okay, whatever, you can do that. I don't know if I would have pushed. I would have been like, all right, fuck you, asshole. I guess you'll never find out how awesome I am. And then I would have been mad and bitter and then just watched people do a crappy job and been mad about it. So I'm very proud of you for doing that.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. It's
Well,
a very
I think-
hard thing to do.
Yeah, I think it was a mix of adrenaline too, because like I truly was having such a great time, and I was like, "Oh, I can do rack heights. I'm like the best rack height person there is. I can do a lift off, whatever. You want me to deadlift that too? That's fine. I'll pick that up." Like that's like the hype I was at that point.
That's
I
awesome.
slowly came down and had a migraine, but that's
Sure.
fine. Like 6 hours of pure adrenaline doesn't really
Yes.
get you far.
Right. And then you had to drive 2.5 hours
Oh
home.
my god, I tried. But it was like the best experience. And this could be like a great plug for anyone lifting. Like even if you don't want to get involved in a first meet, like actually lifting, which we have decided that you should,
Right.
go volunteer.
Yeah.
Like you get front row action to everything. You get to see how it's run, and that way you understand how everything goes.
Totally. And putting on a meet is super hard
It's
work.
so hard.
And they need lots and lots and lots and lots of volunteers. I mean,
Which
it
is
takes,
hard.
yeah. It's, I would have gone and volunteered if I could. I feel like a jerk now, but I couldn't.
I
do
mean,
it.
you shouldn't. You're recovering, which that's really important. I'd hate for you to ruin what you've done so far.
But yeah, I don't even compete in powerlifting, and I would have been happy to help out at that event because I know I've been to meets and I'm like, man, it takes a village to put these things on. Even just the tiny little events that we've had,
Yeah.
we've needed so many volunteers just
And the
to
hard
keep
part-
things
yeah.
moving.
The hard part is most people, like, they want to lift, but they don't really want to volunteer,
Right.
which I can't blame them.
Right.
But you really need both. But anyway, so I think the take-home message, everyone, is just know your strengths, be assertive, and don't be afraid to be assertive. That's
Yeah.
why we go to the gym. That's why we have muscles, so we can assert ourselves.
Absolutely.
We are empowered to assert. Anything else?
Nope. I think you covered it. That was awesome. I'm very proud of you. Good job.
Thank you. We'll see you next week, guys.
Bye, guys.